YSL Beauty has blessed us with 4 new colorways of the Mini Couture Clutch eyeshadow palettes. You guys know I absolutely love these palettes, and word on the street is that they also reformulated these. So in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing each of the palettes, doing a look with all 4, and I will also let you know if the formula is still good. I got a couple of comparisons to show you guys. So if you want to hang out with me today, play around with these new palettes, and hear my completely honest thoughts, then keep watching. Before we get into the demos, let me give you a quick rundown of all 4 of these new palettes and also quickly show you the swatches. The first one that I have right here is called Over Orange. This one is going to be a mixture of neutrals. It does lean a little bit on the warm side. You have, of course, that beautiful pop of coral, and then you get this absolutely stunning, gorgeous, glittery, multi-dimensional topper shade. Next up, we have number 710, which is called Over Brun, and this is going to be your perfect everyday neutral palette. You do have kind of like a matte brown in there. You also have a darker, more espresso leaning brown if you want to build up a little bit of depth. You have a gorgeous, very neutral gold shimmer there, and then of course you have another absolutely stunning glittery topper shade. Next, we have number 700, and this one is called Over Noir, and this is going to be your perfect smoky palette. We have the nude here to have as kind of a base. You also have this gorgeous kind of dark graphite gray. You have a black to add as much depth and smokiness as you want, and then you have this gorgeous, very shimmery light topper shade. And lastly, we have number 800, which is called Over Doré. This one is also, of course, going to be pretty neutral like all of the palettes from YSL, but it's going to be a little bit more gold leaning. I would say that the 2 neutral shades in here, or the 2 kind of like matte satin shades, they're pretty neutral. They don't lean very warm, but you do have this really beautiful yellowy gold. And then for the topper shade here, we have kind of like a golden champagne. Really beautiful, perfect if you like more of those true golds. Lastly, I just want to mention that the packaging is exactly the same as before. Very, very cute. Looks like a little, well, like a little mini couture clutch. They have released some limited edition ones in the past. For example, this is the one that they launched for holiday. But as far as I know, these are permanent, so we're getting this packaging, which is really cute, really nice. I'm taking a look at the back of the box here, friends. It says that these have a 24-month shelf life, so very good. They are made in Italy, and you get 4 grams of product. Also, some of these shades have talc, and some of them do not. So if you are a talc-free consumer, you're probably going to want to stay away from these. Okay, let's get this party started. The first look that I'm going to do is going to be with number 810, Over Orange. This is the one that caught my eye the most because you guys know I love a good, slightly warm-leaning palette, and I also love pop of coral. I'm just going into this shade right here, the nude one, and I'm just going to apply that as a little bit of a base. Yeah, it's like a little bit darker than my natural skin tone. So perfect for concealing all these like little veins that I have on my eye. It goes on very, very smoothly. If you're not familiar with this formula, or we'll see if this is any different from the original, but the original formula is very finely milled, very blendable, but they did a great job adding in a lot of oils. Like there's coffee seed oil and a couple of other oils in there that give the shadows this really, really beautiful creamy touch, but not so creamy that you can't blend it. It just looks so smooth and lovely on the eye. So if you're like me and you have dry eyelids, or maybe you have like more mature skin, something like that, these don't highlight any texture. They don't make your eyelids dry at all. It's a really, really beautiful formula. And if you are new to this channel, hi, welcome. My name is Sophia. If you love these types of reviews, if you love luxury beauty, or you're just trying to get into luxury beauty, consider subscribing to my channel. Every single year I do like a best in beauty, best eyeshadow palettes of the year type of video. And last year, these made the cut. These are some of my favorite palettes ever. So I'm excited to review these for you guys today. I'm just applying that same shade to the lower lash line as well. Next, I'm going to go into the deeper brown, and I'm going to build up a little bit of depth in the crease. I do recommend that you tap off your brush just because this is a very finely milled formula. And as you can see, like you can sheer it out, but they're decently pigmented for a luxury formula. They're gonna be more pigmented than Chanel, for example. They are very soft and have a luxurious feel to them, but they do actually have pigment. Like you don't really need to dig in all that much. So soft. See that like really pretty kind of soft halo that it gives. The one thing that I want to point out about this palette compared to the others is that this is the only one that doesn't really have a metallic shade, because this coral shade, it has a little bit of shimmer in it, but not as much as, let me show you an example. This one right here, like see how that's like a true metallic? It's not like that. So I just want to point that out. If you're somebody that really likes shimmer shades, this one is really only going to give you the copper shade right there. And next I'm going to go into the bright coral shade, and I'm going to be using this as kind of a little accent on the corner of the eye. Just don't want to go too overboard, because sometimes with these coral shades it can look a little funny if you have it all over the eye. I prefer to use it as more of like an accent shade. I feel like this is the palette that a lot of people weren't too sure about, because in the promo photos, this shade looked so orange. It looked like more of a pumpkin orange. It's not a pumpkin orange. It's a really, really pretty kind of soft coral, and you can definitely sort of sheer it out and haze it out. By the way, friends, I will link down below where you can purchase these. I purchased these from a UK retailer, which I will list down below, but I'm sure they're going to be available at like, you know, Nordstrom and Neiman's, maybe Sephora. I will keep the shopping guide in the description box updated as it launches at more retailers. And make sure you follow me on Instagram, because that's usually where I let you guys know first when these things come out. I always post it to my Instagram stories, because some of us like to shop at Nordstrom, some of us like to shop at Sephora, etc. So take a look at the description box if you're just curious where you can get each of these new shades. Okay, so this palette out of the four has the best topper shade. So I'm excited to go in with this one. I'm using an Angie Hot and Flashy A505 from BK Beauty, and so good. The sun is coming in, so actually let me just kind of show you what that looks like. So pretty. I will be honest, friends, and I've said this before, these topper shades, you will get a little bit of fallout throughout the day. Like they're very, very glittery. If you want less fallout, you can spray your brush, or you could use maybe like a little bit of primer or something like that, and that definitely helps, but you will get a little bit of fallout. All right, and this is the final look using Over Orange. Comment down below and let me know what you think. I think it looks really pretty, really soft, very natural, but I do really like that little pop of coral and also the gorgeous, gorgeous glimmer of the topper shade. I'll just get in a little bit closer so you guys can appreciate that in all her glory. Very, very similar to like the Makeup by Mario wet look topper shades that he has in the Ethereal Eyes palette, or Natasha Denona has also been launching a lot of those kinds of wet look topper glittery shades in her midi palettes lately. Very, very similar to that. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that coral might be a little bit too much for you. I absolutely love it. And with that, let's move on to the next palette. I almost forgot, I wanted to show you two quick comparisons before we move on to the next palette. I wanted to show you a side-by-side here of the Over Orange with this palette from Hermes. This is number 03 Ombres Fauve. Now, a lot of people were saying that these kind of look similar, but I just wanted to show you that actually the YSL palette is a lot warmer. And then this one here from Hermes, you get just like some cooler tones. So if you kind of like the idea of this, like a little, you know, pop of coral and a shimmer for the center of the eye, but maybe this is just a little bit too warm for you, highly recommend this one from Hermes. These palettes are so good. They're expensive, but they're worth it. I absolutely love them. So just wanted to show you that quick comparison. And then also a quick comparison with the new Dior Warm Essentials palette that I reviewed for you all here on my channel. I think that if you picked this up, you don't need to pick up this one from YSL, because there's a lot of similar shades like this one, that one. Like you pretty much have recreated the whole palette if you pick this one up. The formulas are very different. This one's going to be a little bit creamier, a little bit more pigmented, but once they get on the eye, they both have a really beautiful, elegant, soft look. So if you want something that maybe has more shades, better value, go with this one. I'll link this one and the Hermes one in the description box. But you know, if you're more of like a small palette gal, then go with the YSL. Okay, now we're moving on for realsies. I'm going to be creating a look with number 710, which is called Over Brun. Pardon my pronunciation, by the way. I know I'm probably butchering these things, but I'm trying my best, guys. I'm going to start off with this shade right here, the lighter brown. And as I said a little bit earlier in the video, this is going to be kind of like your classic neutral brown palette. And I will, after I create this look, do some comparisons with Casbah Spices and Stora Dolls, just so you guys can see smoky. They are different, but hey, if you're like me, you can never have too many neutral palettes. They are different, and even if it's subtly so, that's okay. So I'm just getting a nice little wash of color on. Next, I'm going to go into the soft gold, and I'm going to apply that all over the lid. This is kind of like a soft metallic. Remember how I was saying in the Over Orange there really like isn't a metallic shade? In that one, this one does, and this one is so pretty and smooth. I'm sorry if you guys see the light changing. It is very sunny today, and these components are so shiny that I keep blinding myself. So I had to put the shades down just a little bit. If you're new here, I pretty much always film in natural light, whatever natural light I can get. And I keep moving the component around, and not only is it blinding me, but my cat keeps chasing the little reflections on the wall. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit too chaotic. So sorry if the light is shifting a little bit. It's just, that's a part of filming in natural light. I'm going to take that same soft gold and I'm going to put that on the lower lash line. I feel like this is light enough that it's not going to make the look too heavy. I think I'm also going to take a little bit of that first matte shade as well and put just a little bit here on like outer corner. Next, I'm going to dip into the espresso shade and I'm going to use that on the outer corner of the eye. I am using a little bit more of like a precise brush. This is a Refer 26 because I want to see if I can build this up a little bit. I'm going to work that on the outer half here. You can always blend these out or kind of clean it up on the outer corner afterwards. That's pretty pigmented. That's why I like these. You can always build up some pigment, but if you put a little bit too much, you can also blend it out. You could use an even denser brush if you really wanted to build it up, or maybe use it as like a liner, for example. I'm taking a clean brush now and I am softening that up and kind of blending it a little bit up here into the crease. Okay, so I've got the espresso shade blended out, and now we're gonna go into the glitter shade, which is this one right here. Let's get this one on the center of the eye. You could totally wear just this, by the way. You don't have to put on the glitter shade, but we gotta try it, okay, for the purposes of this review. That is gorgeous. So bright and sparkly and pretty. You really don't need a lot. I just like to do a little bit there in the center of the eye. And you know what? We'll try it on the inner corner as well. We'll put a little bit right there because this look is turning out a little bit more glam because I used that darker shade. I'm so tempted to toss on like a chocolate eyeliner. Should I do that? I'm gonna put on a little bit of eyeliner, some mascara, and I'll be right back. All right, and here is the look with Over Brun. Comment down below and let me know what you think. I just did a little bit of brown pencil liner on the upper lash line. I didn't do anything on the lower lash line. I didn't want it to be too smoky, but I think it came out like a little bit glam, a little bit sultry, very beautiful, very kind of like neutral, natural, great everyday type of palette that gives you options. You honestly could use, just those two shades or even just one shade, for like a daytime look, put a little bit of this in the center and you're good to go. If you wanted to soften this a little bit, you could use this as a liner, not really like smoke it out, but I just wanted to show you guys because this is a pretty basic palette, maybe like another option that you have if you want to just take it up a notch. And then real quick, by popular demand, I do have a comparison with Stora Dolls. They are pretty different. I know that they're both, like neutral basic palettes, but Stora Dolls is a lot more cool toned. It's also a lot lighter and softer. See how this shade is a lot darker than the darkest shade in Stora Dolls? This is supposed to compete with like a Tom Ford Nude Dip, a Dior Soft Cashmere, whereas this one is supposed to be more of like your neutral brown, gold, and like a little soft champagne. I also have right here Casbah Spices. Casbah Spices is going to be just a little bit warmer and also a little bit lighter. So if you want something that's a little bit lighter, I would probably go with this one. I still think that this one it's not dark, it's just you have the option of going for a smoky look with the espresso shade. And then lastly, as I was putting on the mascara for this look, I couldn't help but think, you know, this palette looks a lot like the Chanel Tweed Brunette Rose palette. So I'll show you a quick little side by side there. I think that these two shades in the YSL palette are slightly warmer, slightly more gold, but I think that these two shades are really what reminds me of the one from Chanel. So if you missed out on this one, you might want to give this one a try because it really isn't that far off. Moving along, we have number 700, Over Noir. This is the smoky one. I'm going to start off this look once again with the lightest shade in the palette. And this is just kind of like a basic nude, really nice for, you know, just kind of creating like a little bit of a base, a blank canvas. Or if you have a deeper skin tone, this can also be used sort of like in the center of the lid to kind of like highlight it. It's just a really nice lid shade because we are going to be going in with some of these like deeper, smokier shades in just a second. Let's also get that shade on the lower lash line as well. Next, I'm going to dip into this shimmering charcoal shade, and I'm going to be careful with this because it is going to be on the smokier side. I'm using a BK Beauty 203. This is a shader brush. Like I wanted to be able to pick up enough so that you could see it, but I didn't want to, you know, get it on too much of the eye. Ooh, that is stunning. Oh, I love that. And I am kind of a sucker for that contrast of the beige with this cool tone color. I'm just being very careful where I apply it. It has a gorgeous, gorgeous sheen. Wow. I like that. That's sophisticated. I really like that. Next, I'm going to go into the black. And once again, I'm going to be very careful with this because these shades are pretty pigmented. I'm going to use a little slanted brush. This is that BK Beauty Nikki LaRose collab, the N11. This one has been really, really nice for some of these liner looks lately. So I'm just going to get that on here, tap it off. And I'm going to be a little bit more precise with this compared to the last palette because that one was a little bit more smoky, and I want to just be a little more graphic and precise with this one. Very, very nice. And I like that they didn't put any like little micro sparkles in this one because I just don't really feel like it needs it. I love a true matte black. I'm winging it out a little bit here, which is very easy to do with this brush. I'll do my best to link as many of the brushes that I use in this video in the description box because I keep getting a lot of questions and I know you guys always want recommendations for brushes. Are we ready for the shimmer shade? Take a look at that one. Looks so sparkly and celestial, and I'm going to use the little foam applicator because why not, okay? If you have them, you might as well use them. Ooh, so nice, like a little disco ball. Put some there in the corner. A little bit goes a long way with this one. I feel like I picked up a lot. So note to self, when you use the foam applicators, they actually pick up quite a bit of sparkle. Let's get a little bit there. I don't even really necessarily think that this look needed the sparkle. I think it looked good on its own, but the glitter takes it up a notch for sure. Let's get that on there. I'll probably go back over that with the black just because I covered it up a little bit. All right, and here is the final look with Over Noir. Let me know what you think of this one. This is the palette that when I first saw it, I thought I probably won't wear that one as much, but I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised. I feel like this shade right here is very, very beautiful and wearable. It's not as intense as I thought it would be, especially if you use kind of like a light hand. And I just wanted to show you guys how you can make this palette look a little bit softer by using the black as more of like a winged liner. I love it. I think it looks beautiful. And the shimmer shade, of course, just adds a nice little sparkle. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's beautiful, just like in the rest of the palettes. So for this palette, I have two comparisons to show you guys. The first one is with the holiday palette from this past year, which is called Trocadero Nights. I think this might be available in other countries, but at least here in the US, this was a holiday palette and they might have just re-released it. I don't know what the deal is with this palette, guys. I'll link it down below if I can find it. But I do just want to show you here with the Over Noir that they are a little bit different. This one is very, very sparkly. It's very fun to play with, but I don't think a lot of people like this one just because it is a little bit more glittery. You'll notice with the Trocadero Nights, you get the gold. You also have just more of a glittery, like true silver. This does kind of look more like a holiday palette. I will say, although I do enjoy the Trocadero Nights, it's a fun palette. I like this one a lot better. And then even more similar, I have Imperial Moon from Guerlain. These are actually pretty close. If you have Imperial Moon, I don't think you need to go run and pick this one up. However, I will say, I do like the fact that this one has more of a differentiation between the shades. I really like this pewter shade and I really like the more glittery sparkle that I get from this one. This one is gonna be a little bit lighter in tone because this shade right here is lighter than this shade right here. They're both really beautiful palettes. If I had to choose just one, to be honest, I think I would choose the YSL because I do think that the black in here is a little bit easier to work with. It's a little bit more of like a softer formula. Okay, we got one palette left. The last one is Over Doré. This is the golden palette. I'm gonna kick things off with the soft brown. I don't think that these two browns are that warm leaning, but we shall see how these come across on the eye. This shade is very nice and soft, kind of like a good crease transition shade, or just like a simple one and done if you just wanted a soft brown all over the eye. Seems to be blending out well, just like all the other browns that we've used today. Going in now to the beautiful gold metallic. Excited for this. I actually really like the tone of that. Ooh, that is a summery gold. So pretty. Ah, perfect. I do like that this gold is nice and metallic. It's not super glittery. Like it still packs a punch without being like chunky or whatever. It'd be a really nice one and done type of shadow. I think I'm gonna take that also in the inner corner, just using the Sonia G flat definer right here, because this is nice and smooth. So it just sits right there in the inner corner and then here along the lower lash line really, really nicely. And actually I'm going to go back into that simple brown matte and I'm going to put a little bit right there. Ooh, just this would be nice. Very beautiful summery golden look. Let's go into the deeper brown with a smaller brush. This is a Refer number 14. Let's get a nice little dimension over here in the outer corner. It's gonna be a very basic look. These are pretty basic palettes. Please tag me on Instagram for any looks that you create with these if you do end up getting them. I would love some inspiration. This is blending out really easily and you can definitely build this up, but this brush is a little bit fluffier. So I'm just kind of showing you guys more of like a soft and sultry style of smoke. So you can kind of see what this would look like for maybe, you know, something like more casual, since most of us are not going to galas every single weekend. Let's dip into the glitter shade. And once again, I'm going to use the little applicator because why not? Tap it off a little bit. Picked up a lot. And let's just add a little sparkle in the center there. I feel like this gold is so bright in a good way that this sparkle, it's less about the color. It's a little bit more about like adding that brightness. Ooh, I like. Add a little bit there in the inner corner. Beautiful. I'm going to take the other side of the foam applicator and I'm actually going to go into the deeper brown again. I just want to see if I can build this up a little bit. Maybe like right here, something like that. Can you see the reflection of the component? It's literally there blinding. I'm not really seeing that I can. I think that this is a softer palette. This brown is a lot softer, let me show you here, than the one in this palette. It's way, way lighter. So if you're someone that like, you see those palettes, like the last two that we did, the Noir and the Brun, and you're like, well, I'm never gonna use that shade. Just know that this palette it has a much lighter brown, and that might suit your tastes. And this is the final look with Over Doré. What do you think of this look? In fact, comment down below. Let me know which of the looks was your favorite, which of the palettes is your favorite, which one do you like for me, which one do you like for yourself? I would love to hear all of your thoughts. I think what I really like about this particular one is that the gold is just so bright. It really brightens up the eyes, especially because of the metallic shade. I think this is probably the strongest metallic shade out of the 4 palettes that I demoed today. And then going in with that glitter topper shade just adds a little bit something extra. I love this look for summer. Let's wrap things up with my final thoughts on these palettes. Which one is my favorite and what do I think of the formula? If you couldn't tell, I do really like these palettes. I really like all 4 of them. YSL has done it again. They have launched a beautiful collection of eyeshadows, and I'm not here to shove these down your throat. Okay, if you're new here, I will just tell you, I'm the first person that will say it's patchy, it's dusty, it's crumbly, anything like that. If I don't think it's worth the money, I will be honest with you, because there's so much other makeup that I talk about here on this channel that I think is worth it and good and, you know, worth spending your money on. I do really like these. I actually think I like these colorways maybe even a little bit more than the ones that were originally launched last year. And that's not because they're better. You know, a lot of times people ask me, can you rank the palettes? It's kind of hard to do when they're pretty like consistent, like formula and quality wise. It really just depends on your personal preference if you like the shades. And some of them have more shimmer than others. What I like about these is that they stayed fairly consistent in giving you 2 matte shades, 1 kind of more metallic shade, and then a glitter topper. Other than this palette right here, because this shade, it has a little bit of shimmer, okay, but it's not super metallic, which is why I mentioned that in the demo. These shades are a little bit more Sophia. There's some warm tones, there's the gold. I also really like the brown palette as well because it's just a little bit more on like the neutral side compared to Stora Dolls, which is a lovely palette. But as you guys know, I like more neutral to warm tones if I were to spend my money on anything. So they're all really beautiful. I think they're very gorgeous. If I were to pick like the most Sophia palette out of the bunch, it definitely would be this one. I mean, you guys saw I already have the Dior palette and the Hermes palette, which are very similar. If you already have those, I don't think you need to pick these up. But also, I will say, I was very surprised at how much I really liked the Noir. This is beautiful. I really think that the formula lends itself well to this color story. It's very blendable. It's very easy to work with. If you are very intimidated by smoky palettes, you might want to check this one out if you don't, you know, have one in your collection already. I really, really like this shade. I thought it was going to be maybe a little bit too heavy and dark, but I was careful with it and I thought it looked gorgeous. I really like this. This is probably one of my most favorite smoky palettes that I have, other than maybe like the Natasha Denona Xenon palette. But this is a good sort of scaled down version of that. And I do like this, sorry Guerlain, but I do like it a little bit more than Imperial Moons. I guess this one is my favorite because this is probably the one I will use the most. But I think the one that like surprised me the most is the Noir. So I really like them. I think all the shades are good. It really just depends on your personal preference. Now I want to chat about the formula. I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference, guys. I don't know if this is a rumor. I'm not sure because here in the United States, these have not launched yet. I purchased these from a UK retailer. So it's not like I've seen the marketing campaign or anything like that. YSL recently like reformulated and relaunched the Rouge Volupté Shine lipsticks. They are now called the Love Shine lipsticks. It's gotten them a lot of buzz. Like just saying, oh, we reformulated it, it really got them a lot of buzz. And a lot of people say they can tell the difference, but I don't know. Me and my mom can't tell the difference between the old ones and the new ones, which I guess is a good thing because they didn't ruin a good thing or something that I liked. But if they are saying that these are reformulated, it could just be marketing. I'm not really sure because it's not like they took the talc out of it because like I said in the beginning, there are some shades that have talc. And I took a look at the back of the box for these and then the ingredients that they have listed on like Sephora and other retailers, it looks the same. Like it's the same key ingredients at the top and it's the same oils that they were using before, like the coffee seed oil and all the other ones that are on the back. What do we have right here? We've got coffee seed oil, sweet almond oil. There's some vitamin E in there. So there's like a couple of, you know, more emollients in here. And they're still in here, guys. They're still in here, which honestly, I don't know. I don't even care if it's just marketing. I'm just glad that they didn't ruin these, okay? They have the same beautiful soft touch that they did before. So I don't know what to say. I hope this wasn't like a huge tease or whatever. Maybe if anything, it's just a relief for you as well. But I honestly can't tell the difference. I think they're all beautiful. So with that, friends, that's all I have to say about these. I think they're great. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think of these. You know, which one is your favorite? Which one would you purchase? Are you thinking of picking up any of these? I will keep you updated on where else these will launch. They are very basic. They're very neutral. We've already talked about this before. This entire line from from YSL is very neutral. So like obviously these are dupable, but a lot of us, me and my subscribers, we like very neutral basic palettes. And I think they've got the packaging, they've got the formula, they have great shades. And so I like them. If you like this video and if you found it helpful, please don't forget to give your girl here a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. Like I said, leave me a comment down below letting me know all of your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.